Up first, we're going to start with Derek from Sports Mentions.
How you doing, Ian? Thanks for your time. This has really been a quarterback top-heavy draft that we're going into. I've seen your play. We've all seen your play. So, real quick, just speak to, what do you want to tell these teams, or how do you see yourself compared to these other quarterbacks?
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft class. I feel like there's always good QBs coming out, and that's just kind of the nature of it. I just want to show that I can compete, especially at this pro day, and I can make all the throws out in the field, and everything will take care of itself. That's what I'm telling myself. There's no need to, those other quarterbacks are great, and they'll end up playing on Sundays and getting picked up, and I just got to control what I can control, and I just want to go out there and just compete, have fun, and the three things I want to show, are leadership, accuracy, and my playmaking ability. Those are the three things I pride myself on and think that I do pretty well, and can separate myself from some of the other quarterbacks.
Next question will come from Dan Wilkinson.
Hey, Ian, Dan Wilkenstein from the Brawl Network. How you doing?
What's going on?
Hey, I cover the Chargers out here in LA. So a couple questions. One, I know there's been a ton of buzz talking about all the quarterbacks, and we've seen you ball out for the last few years. Kind of, what do you see yourself as a differentiator at the next level for the NFL? What do you bring to the NFL? And then also just talk about, if you talk to the Chargers, what you see yourself potentially fitting in behind Justin Herbert as a prospect.
Yeah. The three things I was saying before, just leadership ability, accuracy, and playmaking ability. I feel like I have a little bit of a natural instinct back there and can extend the plays and keep my eyes up and make some plays downfield. That's the way I've been playing the game, since I started playing, and I just think I could bring that to any team that picks me up. For the Chargers specifically, or whatever team it is, honestly, it doesn't matter. I go play anywhere and, really push whoever they have as the starter and try to get better and compete with him. And whatever I can do to, help that team win is what I'll do.
Up next, we have Matt Freeman.
Ian, what's kind of been your focus over the last month down in Dallas? And, do you feel like you were able to execute what you kind of wanted to going from the Senior Bowl to Dallas till now?
Yeah, Dallas was great. I had a good time out there. I was training at MJP in McKinney, Texas. I was just really working on all the measurables. I wanted to run a good 40, and I was working on that and putting some good muscle on, and just really working on my body, getting stronger and faster, working on all the L cone and all those drills. And just throwing, with some of the best receivers in the country and tight ends and running backs who are all out there. So it's been a great time. I loved it out there, and I felt like I got a lot better. And just being able to throw with those guys and honestly just hang out with them and, share our stories and how they're very similar, playing all around the country, and just getting to compete, every day in the weight room with all those guys and throwing on the field.
Up next, we have Tyler James.
Hey, Ian, I'm curious, did you learn anything about yourself from the Senior Bowl, and what did you take from that experience?
The main thing I wanted to show was that I could, pick up the playbook, pretty fast and just go out there. I wanted to show the guys I could lead them. Obviously, the whole new playbook, all the plays are very similar, but they're all called in a different way. So I just wanted to learn that and have a good, command in the huddle. And I was able to win the QB Practice Player of the Week, which is huge. I just learned that, if I study and really work hard of learning those plays and trying to be a leader, I can do it. And I just felt like I could compete out there with all those guys. And, that's what I expected to do out there, is go out there and compete. And I just had fun doing it. Those are the best players in the country all at one bowl game. And I just had a lot of fun with it.
Up next, we have Mark Skoll.
Hi, Ian. Obviously, you accomplished so much at Notre Dame. A couple questions. First, just what was your favorite moment playing football for Notre Dame? And then two, how many teams have contacted you? What specific teams have shown the most interest? And then three, has there been any kind of unique questions that have been asked that kind of you weren't expecting during this pre-draft process? Yeah,
I had a lot of great memories here at Notre Dame. I think beating Clemson on November 7th was probably the best one. Just being able to play the number one team in the country and then being able to play them at home under the lights, beating them in overtime and storming the field during a pandemic. So that was cool. I mean, that's probably one thing I'll never forget. Other than that, I've had a lot of meetings. I don't know the exact number, but, they've been going really well. It's really hard to tell I don't think anybody knows what team, wants them more. It's just really hard to tell, and we'll leave that up to them on draft day. But I've had some really good meetings with a lot of teams and just been able to go over a lot of film with them and talk ball. It's been a lot of fun. And what was the third question? What was the third part?
Go ahead, Mark.
Huh?
Any unique questions? Like I know I've seen in the past where like people have been like challenging the draft prospects to like staring contests or anything like that. Have you gotten anything just out of the ordinary that you weren't expecting?
Honestly, no. I was expecting something bizarre, maybe at the Senior Bowl or over these Zoom calls, but they've been pretty straightforward. A lot of people just want to talk ball and see how much football I know and just talk about certain plays from the season. But I was ready for, you always hear about those stories, so I was ready for it, but I have not had anything like that.
Up next, we'll go to Adam Mack.
Hey Ian, how's it going?
What's going on?
Good. Have you been in contact with the Eagles? And a little follow-up to that, Eagles have 2 quarterbacks on the roster, a young guy in Jalen Hurts and a seasoned veteran in Joe Flacco. What would it mean to walk into a quarterback room with a rising star and someone who's been around the league for a long time?
Yeah. I was able to meet with, all the teams at the Senior Bowl, so I did meet with the Eagles. We had a great meeting. I'd love to go there. I'd love to go anywhere and play, but I'd love to go in there and compete. And obviously with Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco, those are 2 great quarterbacks, one who's played for a long time and one who's shown that he can play for a long time. So it'd be an awesome opportunity to go in there and compete with all them. And I honestly like watching both of them play, especially Jalen. I've watched him play a lot of football, and I kind of like his style. So it'd be a great opportunity for me.
Up next, we'll go to Pete Byrne.
Hey, Ian. The draft combine is so much about measurables, arm strength, speed, stuff that's somewhat important, but it's not always about winning and losing. And your measurables were stuff that was sometimes talked about when you were in college, but probably not as much as your win-loss record should have been. When you talk to teams, how much did you try and steer the conversation towards your winning percentage and how you have an ability to win games?
Yeah. I don't try to steer the conversation that way, but it has been, a big topic with some teams. A lot of teams care about that, and, a lot of that falls on the QB's shoulders, wins and losses. So it's been brought up a ton, and the whole measurable thing is the way it is. I feel like the NFL is changing a little bit, especially at the quarterback position. So a lot of teams do understand that, but look, at the end of the day, there's going to be people who doubt height, and that's just the way it is. Honestly, nothing I can do about that. So just control what I can control, but just being able to talk about my experience at Notre Dame and talk about, never losing at home and just having so many wins with all these guys, it's important. Winning's important. That's the business that we're in. So it's been a good conversation.
Next question will come from Alex Fleming with the Florida Sun.
How you doing, Mr. Book?
How's it going?
Not too bad. There's a lot of quarterbacks that's going to be selected in the first round. There's a lot of talented quarterbacks. Once they get to the NFL, they either have to adapt or, they don't last long. There's this thing called the switch, where quarterbacks just read their environment, adapt to it, and they start tearing defenses apart. Explain to me what your switch is. Yeah.
No, I agree with you. I've never heard it called the switch, but it makes sense. Whatever team picks you up, it's about learning their system as fast as you can, getting ingrained in their culture and their locker room culture, and just learning that playbook as fast as you can and going out there and competing. A lot of times, I think the people who don't make it, they feel uncomfortable in those situations, and that's why they don't last. So it's about going to whoever picks you and, being comfortable with being uncomfortable. It's going to be hard when you first get there. So learn the playbook as fast as you can, and once you learn that, you can show everything else that, comes natural to you. So that's what I would say the switch means to me.
Next question will come from Tyler James.
Hey, Ian, you leave behind a quarterback competition here at Notre Dame. I'm curious if you've reached out to any of those guys and given them advice of how to handle that.
Yeah, talked to all of them now. I was able to go to the first spring practice, and I've got to see them throw a few times. Honestly, excited for that battle. All of those guys can play, and I think they're all excited for the battle. And that's the biggest thing is competition is going to lead to, the best thing for Notre Dame, and that's the best person, playing quarterback, whoever that may be. But I'm excited for all of them. The first practice looked great. I think all of them can play. All of them bring, something a little different to the offense. So I'm just excited for it, and I think they are too, and I think they're just excited to, be back in spring ball competing.
Next question will be from Josh Allen with the Bucks Report.
Hey, Ian, how you doing?
How's it going?
Good. Just want to say, first of all, congratulations on a heck of a career at Notre Dame. But throughout this whole, pro day and pre-draft process, has there anyone that you've kind of leaned on for support, or someone who's been through it that you kind of picked their brain? And then the second question is, have you spoken with the Buccaneers at any point during the pre-draft process yet?
Yeah, I lean on my family a ton, brother, my mom and dad, just for advice. And then a lot of times when it comes to football, Coach Reese, he's been there for me, and he's somebody I can, he's someone that's went through the process as well, and he's been a quarterback at Notre Dame, and we just have a lot in common. So he's someone I call, honestly every day just to talk about everything, and whether that's football or life. But he's someone who's given me great advice, and, I'm excited for this pro day. He's also been giving me a lot of advice for this. So I have met with the Bucs, had a really good meeting with them at the Senior Bowl. We just got to talk ball. It's a 15-minute interview, and that'd be a heck of a place to end up as well.
Next question will come from Dan Wilkenstein.
Hey, Ian. So I know I come up Chargers out here in LA, and we just talked about what you can bring. You've had some success, to say the least, with Tommy Tremble as a tight end for you. What can you say about him and what he brings to the NFL, and kind of what your favorite part about his game is?
Yeah, Tommy, the thing he brought to Notre Dame for us and that he'll bring to the team that he goes to is a different physicality. He was a spark plug for our team and for our offense especially. If we needed him to be the lead hat in a run game, he'd do it, and he'd go take out the best player and create a huge hole for the running backs. If we needed him to go to make a big play down the field, running a certain route, he'd do it. And that's what he'll do for the team that asks him or that drafts him. He's just got a different level of physicality, and he's willing to put his body on the line. And when you got somebody out there on the field who's willing to do that, and put their body out on the line for you, that's a teammate that you want to have. So I'm excited for him. I feel like he's just gotten so much better this last season. He looks great, and I think he's just ready for this pro day. He'll go tear it up.
Next question will come from Andre Robinson.
Good afternoon, Andre Robinson, Challenger Community News. Congratulations, Ian Book, on your pro day.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I have watched you a lot. I want to thank you for everything that you've done as far as Notre Dame football and the games that you've, given us, phenomenal games against Clemson, et cetera, et cetera. I've been doing a little research, and NFL Draft Bible has you as the 9th best quarterback prospect in the 2021 draft. Is that blasphemous, or do you feel like that's true? First and foremost, I mean, you're a book, so I figured, the NFL Bible. Is that blasphemous to you, or is there some truth to that? And my second question is, what do you say as far as the naysayers that say that you're undersized, a little undersized, and you could be sporadic sometimes?
Yeah.
What do you say to those naysayers?
Well, the first part, being number 9, I haven't seen any of those, but I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of good quarterbacks. I feel like I compete. I feel like I'm in the top. I don't know who the 8 others, are in front of me, but honestly, I just want an opportunity and show that I can compete. It's kind of how I felt coming out of high school. Had a lot of naysayers, a lot of doubters. It's the same situation. Now I'm just, trying to go play in the NFL. It's the same exact talk. It's the same noise, honestly. So I've already heard it, and I was able to overcome it. It's just the same thing now, just starting over. So it's kind of how I deal with the naysayers, to be honest. Doesn't really matter. I'm not getting any taller, so it's just the way it is. And it's the way I've played football my whole entire life. And, I was able to be successful here at Notre Dame. I plan on doing the same thing in the NFL and having a good career. And I just use it it's a chip on my shoulder. I just use it as motivation, honestly.
And that is all the time we have for, so thank you, Ian, for joining us today.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.